Filipinas feminists fighting against imperialism, feudalism, and marginalization. Big words right there. It's also big organization. We're going to be talking about that today on the show. And this will also give us ideas on what we can do to help our Kababayans. You know, human trafficking, slavery is still very much prevalent here in our community. And we're going to be talking about that today on the show. Jolene is here on the show to talk to us about Affirm First. And, you know, we gave them big words. It's part of your name. Let's, I mean, the name of the group. Let's talk about the definition of each. What do you mean when you say feminist?
Okay, so the basic principle of feminism is that we believe that women should be not just equal to men, but also free as human beings. So we were talking earlier, Janelle, about there's different strands of feminism, and for us as Filipino women, as women of color, we also believe that in talking about the freedom of women, we also should address issues of class, of race, because those are all part of our identity.
So this isn't the feminism that we see on TV, those that are being, the feminism that's being criticized for being too bitter, for being too hateful about life, you know. It's not that kind of feminism.
No, actually, what you see a lot in the mainstream media is what we call liberal feminists, and a lot of times they get branded as man-hating, just angry with life. And we're here, we're not saying that we'll never work with liberal feminists because we believe that we have to free all women. But as Filipino women in particular, we can't afford to fight for our freedom and not the freedom of the entire community.
Okay. And when you're saying fighting against imperialism, what is imperialism?
Okay, so imperialism is a really big word, but it's basically, it's the highest stage of capitalism. It's when the corporations are able to own everything. So if we look at one sector of society, if we look at the banks, or if we even look at communications, we see that one corporation that may have smaller companies under it own the entire sector of communications, right? And there's a concentration of wealth.
And how is imperialism affecting Filipina women?
I think we can look at the very basic level of like the woman as Filipino woman as a worker. We have these mega corporations that own everything, from the hospital corporations to those that are also global in the Philippines, and these corporations are pushing poor women who have no access to this wealth to different countries, right? Including the United States.
And some statistics even show that 1 million Filipinas get shipped out of the Philippines to different parts of the globe yearly, and 30% of them end up as sex workers,
as prostituted women, as mail order brides. They say that about 3,000 Filipinas leave the country every day. And where do they end up? I mean, they're not, like there's this picture of downtown behind Janelle here. They're not in the big banks. They're not leading these big banks. They may be cleaning the floors, or they may be in the homes as domestic workers of the people that are sitting in these corporate offices. There's a huge invisible population of Filipino women.
And so I think imperialism, that in connection to imperialism now connects to feudalism.
Yes, yes. So as you know, Affirm, which is formerly Gabriela Network, was formed 20 years ago. And we were formed on the basis that women would migrate back home.
Right, they come here, they work, they earn, they save up, and then they go back home. And that's not the case anymore.
That's not the case, and you know, I can speak from my own personal experience. My grandmother came here as a nurse in the 60s, and then there was step migration. She brought over my father, and then and now I was born here in Los Angeles. And what we're seeing is with refuelization is it's this new theory that we are trying to further write about, but it's this idea that we would think that a woman leaving her entire family back in the Philippines and coming here would would be this model of like the empowered woman, which she is.
Of course.
They're a national hero.
She's supporting the family back home. Okay.
And then what we see now is this alarming trend with subsequent generations where there's this refeudalization of the household.
Feudalization. It's the women that earn. But for the household,
the irony is that they are not the quote-unquote heads of the household. It's like this duplication of like the family structures that we see in every society, including the Philippines, where it's the patriarchal household.
Right. And so the decision lies on the father, the dad, the patriarch of the family, but then the money doesn't necessarily come from the patriarch. It usually, most often, especially with your research, it shows that it comes from the women.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, we're going to be exploring that idea more when we return on the show. Don't go away. Ang programang ito ay handog sa inyo ng US Bank. We're proud to serve California.